it's a difficult phase in your life because, you know, you obviously go from being a full-time athlete or sports person where your whole life is dictated by training and competing and how you sleep, how you eat, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're into retirement and it all just literally stops. But for me, I've completely enjoyed entering retirement.
Tell us where the idea for your app, Janice, came from.
The app really came from my experiences through my pregnancies and the journeys that I had, and yeah, I just really wanted to create something that, you know, a lot of women out there can hopefully use in a really successful way and enjoy.
I want to know what it was like to discover you were pregnant at the peak of your career, because that's a real concern for a lot of women, even though it shouldn't be.
You know, we didn't have a plan of when I was going to start a family, and it was all about competitions and preparing for the next year's championships. So when I did fall pregnant, it was all kind of threw everything into chaos. And, you know, I remember having to tell my coach and my team, and everyone was really surprised. And, you know, we just had this plan, and this wasn't like essentially part of the plan.
You were one of the lucky ones because you were at the peak of your career, your sponsors, your team looked after you, but other athletes are further down the rankings probably don't have that kind of support. And obviously this was in the news recently with the big controversy over Nike and them suspending payments for athletes who fell pregnant. Do you think pregnant women in sport need to be better protected?
It's almost still a little bit of a grey area because you expect athletes to perform year on year and then retire and then have a family, and there's not a lot of things put in place to support female athletes.
I wonder how you felt having gone through your pregnancy, watching athletes compete pregnant. What was going through your mind in terms of the physical impact that would have on them? Because could you imagine running that far along in your pregnancy to the best of your ability?
I think everybody is so different, and I think exercise is a fantastic thing to do while you're pregnant. It's got to be done relative to your level of fitness and how comfortable you are, and obviously it has to be safe for your child. For me personally, I continued exercising through both of my pregnancies because it gave me a mental lift, it gave me energy, it made me feel good. It's what I'd always done. And I continued running to a point where I'm not talking a fast pace. I was probably plodding along at that stage, but I felt good. And when I stopped, it was the time where I felt that, my hamstrings started to get a bit tight. I started to feel aches and pains. I wasn't enjoying running as much, and it was my body saying, right, this is time for you to, exercise or do something in a slightly lower level in a different way.
It's interesting. Are you watching the Women's World Cup at the moment? Because that is the flagship event that everybody's glued to at the moment.
It's nice to see, how much coverage it's getting, and it's not just, showcasing the event. It's the, the ad campaigns that are surrounding it. They're just fantastic. It's just raising the profile and giving those women, such amazing support, which is great to see.
So the perception of women's sport is changing for the better. What can be done to keep the momentum going and take it to that next level, do you think?
About making sure we don't get complacent, that we keep, the profile high of these amazing sports and what these incredible women are doing. And the more we televise, the more we showcase, the more we, offer extra funding and financial support, then it only takes them to another platform. And, you see live sport for the first time. It's so inspiring. And if you have the opportunity to do that as a young child, then it can make a huge difference to the direction that you go in and whether you find a route into sport.
Yeah, women's sport is going through a real period of growth and inclusion. But inclusion's caused a bit of a stir in athletics recently. I know this is a very uncomfortable subject to broach with most athletes, whether they're currently competing or not. But it is about Caster Semenya and the controversy. She recently won her appeal against that Court of Arbitration for Sport decision that said athletes with differences of sexual development must either take medication in order to compete or change to another distance. Now, she's won that appeal, so she can carry on competing as it stands at the moment. And I just wonder, now that you're on the outside looking in, would you have been happy to compete alongside Caster Semenya? Because so many people are saying, regardless of the fact that it's a natural difference, it's an unlevel playing field for female athletes.
I think it is such a complex issue, and there's you know, there's no right and wrong here. It is so confusing, and I'm on the outside of it now. I'm not in the thick of athletics. I'm not competing. I'm not amongst that community really anymore. So I'm sat on the outside, and you know, I've read and I've heard different arguments and different sides, and it's still, you know, it's still very hard to understand fully, and there's so many different levels to it to understand it firstly, and then implement change where, you know, Caster feels protected and her human rights are protected, but also the other athletes that are competing, they feel that they're on a level playing field.
So you're inspiring mums to achieve their goals the right way. What are your goals? One more comeback?
Oh no. I think it's the Olympics next year. It's a bit too soon. No, I love exercising now in a completely different way. I can do it for fun. There's no pressure. There's no time frames. I don't have to jump certain heights or anything like that. And I'm really looking forward to watching the Olympics and, yeah, being on the sidelines watching now.
Jess Ennis-Hill, it's been lovely to talk to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.